What's going on, YouTube? Um, I wanted to talk about the delirious allegation that has been happening. I know that there's already a bunch of YouTubers that's already going to talk about it, like TJB and probably the Crows of Judgment and stuff like that. Uh, Drama alert, maybe. But I don't declare myself a news channel, so I'm not going to specifically do stuff as far as just specific news information and stuff like that. But I did watch Ohm's interviews that he did, and I just wanted to talk about that and just kind of reiterate some of the things I said, even with Louis' case. Now, watching the interview, I'm not going to post anything or show anything as far as what has shown for the interview, as I know he said he would go after. It's gonna be going after some people who try to use the footages and stuff like that or whatever in one of his videos. So it's just gonna be me talking. So it had two interviews, one with Psy and one with accuser who's using the name Sarah as an alias. So the interview with Psy, I felt like, well, both interviews, I felt like they were both guided heavily by Ohm. What I mean by guided is that all of the questions had specific points and stuff that he was wanting to go to, and all of the questions he had, he answered. I really feel like if this is a story of the girls and their allegations, it needs to be about the girls and the allegations, not necessarily Ohm's stuff with everything, because that's kind of how it feels again. If Ohm wants to talk about what's been happening with him and stuff like that, he can do a video where he just talks about that, about what's been going on with him. But I feel like everything that's derived on the girls and their story needs to be said by the girls. Some guided interviews do work, I understand that, but where you give them the answer and you're just looking for a nod of agreement or a get like to say yes or that I agree. Some of those do work in some situations. I don't think it too much works in this one, just because of how it felt with how he was doing the interview. I said the first one, there's a heavy narrative in both, but the narrative that's in the first interview with Psy, I felt like was more towards making like Marcel, Wildcat, and everything look bad when they have nothing against or on the case of what happened to her. I know that they are part of the history of everything. That is cool. You can do a whole video where you talk about that yourself. But if it's her story, Psy's interview, her story, I'd rather be just her story. But he showed like the tweets and stuff like that of everything, which paints pictures of Marcel and Wildcat in horrible light. And it makes everyone who, or the people who were involved in the group during that time in tweets and stuff, it make it seem like everyone knew about Delirious and didn't say anything. There's no real indication that stated that they do or they did know about all the girls or any of the allegations and stuff as being true. But that's the picture that was being painted for that first one. For the second one, I would say that the narrative for that one is how vindictive Delirious is. I had a lot more issues with the second interview than I did the first one. The second interview, it seemed like I had more questions than what was after the answers that was given, I should say. After the answers and stuff that was given, I still had a lot more questions. How the questions that Ohm was giving was displayed, it made me have more questions. And it's not questions of evidence necessarily, it's just questions of like years and stuff of things happening dates and stuff of things, like time frames and stuff like that. Made me have questions on those. I had questions on one of the things that was answered, but then it sounded like it was changed. Like something was changed about that information from one part to the next in the second interview, which didn't feel right as far as like how it was said. That's why I would say I'd rather have the girls tell their story of everything that happened, rather in a narrative, rather than displaying the questions the way he did, because that's where I believe some stuff got muddied a little bit with the information. Because stuff just makes you think of, okay, if this happened during that time, this happened, then how did this happen? Or you said this, but then this happened, as you show like the tweets and stuff like that. So I rather just had them tell their story and just me try to figure out if they're telling the truth and stuff through their story of how they're saying it and everything else. Because that gives you an idea of what they're saying and exactly kind of a feel of who they are and what they are about as far as what they're wanting in this situation. Because more than likely, in a case like this, especially with the information and stuff they're giving about the evidence and evidence not being there, or them not knowing, like in the second interview, she said that she never did say her age, that it was implied due to pictures of her at a school, which laws and stuff with some things, if you ever watch people who catch predators and stuff like that, watch those videos, is the harshest thing you have to do is state your age, and the person have to know your age, and they have to it has to be known that they know what your age is. It cannot be an implied situation. They have to know. Like, that isn't something that you can just do or lean on as far as evidence goes. Is implied knowing, because that doesn't too much help in cases. So so far what I've heard is going to be very tough for these girls on the allegations with Delirious. Not saying that everything is true. I can't say that the girls are right, Ohm is right. I can't say that Delirious is right. So if they are able to take it to court, there's a lot of things I feel like they should do, or they should have done. The questions I have, if they went to went to get a digital or computer forensics analyst to check on like the emails and stuff like that that Ohm was talking about, and what Sarah was referencing of her being threatened, her and her child or whatever. So it's a whole bunch of things that just I had questions about of what they're actually, as far as who they're going to as far as help, not necessarily the name of the people or whatever. Need to know that. Don't need to know the specifics of the detectives and stuff they're working with, but just if they are talking to specific specialists for these cases, like a computer or digital forensics analyst to trace these things, or to get a court order to trace off of people's computers and stuff like that. If those are being the one things worked on, I'd rather him just say that, because it's with Ohm. He has his own dirt. He has his own things and stuff as well. And what I mean by dirt is just not necessarily like big allegations like that, but it's stuff that he does and stuff that he do that seems way off, just in part of his history. When he attacked cartoons for no reason, Bryce. He attacked Gorilla one time when they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's things that Ohm has to deal with within himself as well. So it's kind of hard to say with Ohm exactly what he's trying to do. That's the whole thing of the backlash to me, is that Ohm and how he handles stuff. So it deflects what the purpose of everything is supposed to be for, and it's supposed to be of the girls. Now, I am not one to just say that everything everyone says is the truth, everything like that, because allegations and stuff are serious. But there's been cases where women have lied on men, men have served jail time because of the lies and stuff. Even worse, like the Emmett Till situation where, he was murdered, viciously murdered. So cases like that has happened. So I cannot ever say that anyone is telling the truth. I can't believe anyone just straight off the bat. But I'm not going to go against you in that same point. But it's just how stuff is brought up and how stuff is done kind of waves people a certain way. But I am always neutral to everything until hard proof is shown or the court cases actually show it. Because you can't show a whole bunch of this stuff. We know that. There's a lot of stuff you can't show. There's some stuff that you could show. But it would probably be best if you don't show it. It's a lot of stuff that, would just work out if you just leave it with the case, if you're actually building the case. So if it does go to court, it will all show. Just give us updates of when stuff is happening. That's it. And if everything is being brought into court. If it's not, then let us know that it was a failure, it failed, because that stuff does happen as well. I've seen so many predators get off with cases and stuff that has went to court. It's people who didn't see any jail time. There's people who wasn't listed as sex offenders and stuff like that. So that stuff does happen. But yeah, I just wanted to say those points as far as how things are. I say Ohm should never did the interview. Someone else probably should have did the interview. The truth would show, but it's just how you handle the situation. If you mess up the situation, then the truth will never come out, and that's on both sides, both with Delirious and the girls who have the allegations against Delirious. You can look at the link below to see the interviews and stuff, since I'm not going to post them. Listen to the interviews. You will hear the narrative and stuff of a story, that is being displayed. Everyone paints a narrative, their own narratives and stuff like that, and everything that they talk about. So whether that narrative is true or not, it's up to you to, try to read into all of what is being said. And that's how the narrative and everything is being told. But thank y'all so much for listening and checking me out. Please do take care.